Good evening, guys. And just like a bad smell, we're
We're
back.
back again.
Lingering around, paying attention to no one's attitude or no one's bad vibes. Here we are again on another episode of the We Know Nothing Show. Really glad to be back at it. 2 weeks in a row now. This is a record for me and Younger recently. So it's good to be back as always. Um, on tonight's show, just to break it down for you really quickly on tonight's show, going to be a really quick review on Sunday's game, really quick review on tomorrow's transfer window, and this week we're going to be focusing on the Q&A session that we have asked you guys to participate in. So thank you very much for the questions, some really good corking questions for us, some probing questions, which is always good for us.
Absolutely.
Young, welcome to the We Know Nothing show, son. Pleasure as always. Couldn't do it out with you, and I wouldn't want to do it out with you, mate. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on as always. And yeah, guys, like I've said, no bad vibes. Let's just crack on. Let's enjoy the show and get involved as you, if you would like to. Okay, Young, take us away, son.
Yeah, welcome, Mark. I'm just doing something and I'll be with you. There you go, look, I'll change your name. Yeah, so again, Mark, welcome to the We Know Nothing show. You know, we back at it again 2 weeks in a row. Like we say, quick rundown of the Sunday's game. Look at tomorrow as it's the transfer deadline day. Who knows what's going to happen at Burnley? And then we'll move on to we'll have a look at the cup draw quickly, and something I've picked up on Twitter over the last couple of hours, and then we'll go into Q&As. But the first bit, I'm going to leave it to you, Mark, a little bit, because obviously you went to the game, you watched the game. I've watched the highlights back.
Yeah.
From me, not really the best performance. I know highlights don't show it all. Yeah, so not the best performance. Obviously, we won in the cup last night as well. I don't believe it was the best performance in that either. Obviously, bit of a change side, but yeah, we'll touch on the Villa game.
Yeah.
Off you go, Mark.
It was a confusing game. You know, I went on with one of the favourites of the show, DJ. Big shout out to DJ. Yeah, I went on with DJ, and we when we saw the lineup, I automatically said he's going to try and play a 4-2-4 there, just with the with the lineup that he went for. It looked like he went very attacking. But then when we watched the game, it just appeared that the shape that we were playing didn't suit us. We looked really wide open on the flanks. You know, we struggled. It appeared that we struggled in the middle of the park. Aston Villa always had a man spare because we were trying to play the two. But what it appeared to be happening is that how I've viewed it, and maybe you know, as Burnley fans, we've got this wrong. But when we signed Sepp van der Berg, I would have thought that Sepp van der Berg would be that linchpin in the middle of the park, breaking it down and putting himself about. And you've got Cullen and somebody else buzzing around like Cullen did last season Championship. Now I know the Championship's a completely different league to the Premier League, but we just seem to really struggle. Sepp van der Berg was the player that were the most attacking player. He was making the runs beyond the last player, the last defender for Villa. We just seemed to get isolated a lot in the middle of the park. We looked like a very young side against Aston Villa, and we seemed to lack any sort of leadership on the pitch. And I think that's what a couple of fans have been echoing recently about, like Josh Brownhill not playing, J Rod not playing, you know, Miric not playing, and you know, people that have sort of been there and done it. It was a very young side on
But
Sunday.
he has signed a lot of young players, hasn't he? That's the
Yes,
thing, you know.
yeah,
He wants to build a fit
yeah,
young team. So for me, I don't know. We've got to give him a little bit more time.
yeah.
We're going to touch on the Villa point a little bit more in a minute because someone's asked us a question on that. But they're an outstanding team, aren't
they? They'll be for me. Me and DJ said the same thing. Like they'll be thereabouts this season. Like they just move the ball really well. But in the same instance, what I don't want it to become, I don't want it to become a Burnley battery session. It weren't. It's a lesson learned. You know, we played all right in some spells. I think we, when we scored the goal, it appeared that we were in the ascendancy a little bit, and we just couldn't sort of just maintain that momentum.
It felt like that on the highlights as well. Like we came out in the second half. We were a slightly better team. It looked like we were going to get going. We got the goal, and then we just sort of flatlined.
We sort of like.
But it didn't take long for them to restore that lead, did it? That's the thing.
No, and what I saw from the game on Sunday is that, I know it's a cliche in it. You know, we talk about City all the time, scoring goals at the right time. Villa scored that third goal at the perfect time. That Villa goal absolutely killed us. For me, that third goal killed us. But not taking nothing away, there were some good performances. You know, they're playing against some of the best players. I won't say in the world, because Villa haven't got any best players in the world, but you get my point. They're playing against very good, experienced. And what I will say is, we purr over players like De Bruyne's and your Casemiro's and Modric's and players like that. But let me just give a massive really quick shout out to John McGinn. Honestly, like, watching him live, what a player. He gets booted, he's strong on the ball, really big, really, really good quality technician. He's very underrated. But all in all, I think it was a lesson learned. May have to go back to the drawing board about the shape. But all in all, just one of them where we just couldn't seem to get going.
Yeah, well, we'll move on from that review now. Obviously, we had the Nottingham Forest game as well. That was a very sort of, I don't know, we changed the side quite a bit. Wasn't the expansive side that we were expecting to see. In the second half, they sort of dominated play a little bit more, and we
should have given it home, aren't they?
We nicked that. We nicked a goal and won it 1-0. It looked all day long that it was heading for penalties.
Great finish, by the way.
And he had a couple of touches in the air and he smashed it in the back of the net. And we've got a win. And I said I'd touch on it. Cup draw gave us Salford in the next round, so that's us on Sky with Gary Neville screaming and shouting in the background. But Salford's a good draw for Burnley fans. They've not got a long way to travel. It is probably going to change the squad again. It's going to come, I think, 23rd, somewhere around that date, I think, of September. So, it's another game in the calendar for a team that's going to try and stay in the Premier League. But it's a team where, when you need a win, we can potentially go and get a win at that club. So I'll take that. Moving on to transfer window, we've signed a lot of players, as we did last season. Now, we were playing Championship football last season, so arguably we're not playing the same standard of teams. And again, this is going to come back to a question later on that we've been asked, but specifically about a player later on. But at the minute, we're playing better teams. So, and yes, we've strengthened in all areas apart from left back, really. And there still looks like there's going to be at least 2, maybe 3. I'm hearing there's potential for 4 coming in tomorrow. So, we're up above 100 million at the minute. And it's going to take it to probably, I think the ones that we're looking at coming in at the minute, a couple are on loan. So, because we've got FFP to keep in mind, but there'll be loans with options to buy if we stay in the Premier League. So I'd be interesting to see where the ones that come in tomorrow, what positions they are. I know there was 1, maybe 2 that again today said they were cancelled, and now at least one of them's been reignited. So through a phone call, I believe, or we believe, from Vincent Kompany. So we'll see where that one goes and heads out. But I don't know if you've got any insight on anyone that might be coming in the door. I think we've had a big turn down for Eric Dyer as well, which is a bit of a. I wonder if that one might get reignited tomorrow, just because I know we've lost a couple of centre halves, haven't we? And obviously bringing Eric Dyer in, he's probably going to go in at centre half, which is probably quite a big signing for Burnley as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think what there's a lad from Benfica that apparently we've gone in for 20 million. Centre half, can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. I think the Eric Dyer is a sensible one. I think it's a clever one. So I think that's what we're lacking at the back, an old head with a bit of experience.
Yeah, but again, he can play football as well.
He plays
that style of football.
And that's the thing. You can't be, and I think I think how Burnley play, the players that Vincent's going for, is a ball playing centre half. Which is exactly what I think we need. I'd like to see an old head at the back, I will admit, but I understand his principles. Well, the one thing that I am interested in, and I want to get your just touch on it really quickly. Just 2 points for me on this one, Younger. The Marc Tressor deal is the one what's got the Clarets fans sort of like mouth watering a little bit and interesting. It's got the taste buds tingling and all that. For me, the Marc Tressor deal is a very interesting one because that one was muted at the very beginning of the window. And it's rumbled on and now it was off yesterday, but now apparently
looks like it's been switched back on.
Looks like it's back on because Vincent's had a call with him, probably explained to quote Dyche, the mantra of the team and what part Tressor will play at that team. And that is a deal with a loan to buy, as you were saying. So I'm interested if we can get that one over the line because I think he listening and looking at
my take on that situation is I think I would have liked to have seen him come in at the start of the window and get a full pre-season, and it was one that when we heard it at the start of the window, I was a bit like, can we get someone?
I think it ran away though a little bit, didn't it? I think they were. I think
they wanted more money than what they were going to get, and they try. I think sort of that's slightly what's happened with it going off the boil in the last few hours. Maybe could well be players' agents asking for money and things like that, and things get switched off. Paperwork doesn't get done. I've seen a comment on Twitter already. Let's make sure our fax machine is turned on for tomorrow.
It's always turned on. Always turned on our fax machine.
So
always turned on.
But yeah, it is an interesting one. I want to see him come in. I like that we've bolstered our squad. I'm a lot like you though. Would have liked to have seen
a couple of old heads.
Just an old head come in. I know we've got the likes of Jay Rodriguez, Jack Cork. Obviously Josh Brownell's been around a little bit. We've got Cullen, who's just signed a brand new deal and has been a big part to the club. But I really would have liked to have seen that. That old head just get someone that obviously Josh Cullen's going to play week in, week out, but I would have liked one more that's going to play week in, week out. Because Jack Cork's going to, club captain, but he's going to sit on the bench. He's not necessarily going to come on every game. So that's why I was really intrigued by the
Eric Dyer one. I like that one. Yeah, I think the two far left ones that I've heard, just obviously from my side, is Cornet. But not as a winger.
Someone did touch on that the other day.
Not as a winger,
as a left back.
As a left back, I'd take that. I think I would take that. And the other one, one that
left Burnley and got injured, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I think if you could get him, I think the other one that I'm interested in, and I don't think Burnley will go for it. I think it's just a smokescreen. But apparently they're looking at a deal, a loan for Danny Ings.
Well, I would bring him back all day long.
I think that's a good.
There's no two ways about it. I think I've heard. I did see something the other day on a Danny Ings thing, and there was a lot of people talking about, because he got bad blood with the club, this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
the club's changed.
Yeah, the club's not the club.
There's not very many people that were at the club when he was at the club that are still there, So
yeah.
I would have him back all day long.
100%. Yeah,
I think I saw a rumor of someone we'd been linked with someone from Leeds as well.
that got rejected apparently. 20 million.
£20 million for. I didn't see who it was. Was it Somerville?
Yeah, Somerville. Yeah, apparently got rejected straight away.
Well, it's been rejected straight away. So that might be if we're bidding £20 million, it might be we might go back in with a little bit more for that. But again, watch this space.
Lots of activity though tomorrow.
Yeah, lots of activity tomorrow. I'm sure we'll try and fit a show in over the next few weeks. I am going away for a few weeks, so we're going to do our best and try and bring you a show in that time. We will do our best, and we will talk transfers in that. Let's move on to our Q&A then, Mark. Yeah. So we put it out this afternoon. We've had quite a bit of buzz about it. I am going to lift up my phone, which is something I don't normally do when I'm on the show, but I'm going to do it because I just want to look at our social medias, and we have been actually tagged in some questions since we started the show. So I am going to click on them. So question from Ben Catlaw has been put on there. It's not really a question for our football show, but we'll ask it later on anyway. I can see you reading it now. You're having a little laugh at that one, aren't you? And then
you'll love that.
And then Dean has asked,
wow, that's
a really good question. Let me take a note of that, and we'll start off with Kerry Ann. Well, I'll just write this note down. Kerry Ann, thank you for your question. I'm guessing you are related to Dean in some capacity. I'm just going to write Dean's question down. He's just said wife in my ear.
Wife of poor bloke. I mean, poor woman, not poor bloke, poor woman.
You're going to get kicked. Your head kicked in.
Edit that out. But yeah, that what we've had a look at the question, Kerry Ann, is we have looked at that and we've realised that we would have to do sort of like a pre-show with me and Youngie on agreeing certain players for certain positions, and then we would talk about why we've agreed on that player, and we would do it as a combined squad. So between myself and Youngie, we do the like they do on the the pundit shows where they do put 5 players in and decide and stuff. We've decided that we will do a full show on that because that is a fantastic question, and it will take a bit of time for us to go through that. So thank you, obviously, Kerry, for your question. It is a really good question. It definitely got us thinking when we were talking about it. But we will do a show on that one for you. And when we're gonna put that out, we'll make sure that obviously we give you a big shout out, another big shout out on it as well. Heck, we might even get you on the show as well.
In my notes, I've said we will need your team as well. So
yes, and your team as well, Kerry.
Please.
So, yeah, thank you for that.
And we'll put the question out. I think we'll put the question out to everybody, and we'll see what sort of mixed bags we get back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
just give me 1 more second.
Yeah, you're right. So what we've decided on this one, on this Q&A section, guys, is that we just thought it'd be good to sort of like give, for you guys to get involved. We tried a little bit towards the end of last season and we got a really good response. So again, thank you for that. We are going to be looking, of course, at doing certain different interactions with the show. Possibly, if we get over, like, I don't know, just speaking hypothetically, get over like 50 likes for the episode we do, the person that gives the first or the 50th gets like, some sort of like, just a thank you from us, on the next show, or a small voucher, or just something where we show you how appreciative we are of your feedback and your following. Like I said, it's just two best mates that are doing it just for the crack in the sense, but we do want to take it places. So yeah, keep watching and thank you. So yeah,
exactly.
Question time.
So that is it. We are in.
I personally think we should ask the Ben Catlow one first.
Okay, so the Ben Catlow one was, did Gary Smith mean his goal against Waddington? Mark's laughing. Absolutely not. I think we're both in agreement with that. I think everybody's in agreement with it.
So
apart from Gary Smith.
Those that don't know Gary Smith, he is 66-year-old, still playing football, still whinges like a 25-year-old, built like a tank, skips legs day. He's got toothpicks for legs, but he's got a really big upper half. But Gary Smith is one of them, right? He's one of them players that plays with a lot of passion. He's done that throughout his career. The scene is set, playing over at Waddington. We need to win to get promoted, and we need to win basically to keep in the title run, so to speak. There's fans on the sideline at Waddington. All of a sudden, Gary Smith picks his ball up at halfway line, beats a couple of players, and puts ball in top bins. Fans run on pitch. It was like a scene out of Kes or something like that. Honestly, you've never seen out like it. But no, in my opinion, I don't think he meant to catch it as sweet as he did, but he definitely were going for a shot. You can 110% confirm that. So I'll give you a little bit of props there, Gaz, mate. So yeah, so well done, Gaz. Great question, that Catlow. Really, starts off on a high that.
Exactly. So yeah, let's go to Liam Beach. So Beachy, since Burnley have spent 100 million in this transfer window, will they survive? So the question is, will they survive? 100 million pound being spent. We're still talking about signings coming in tomorrow. Will they survive? Our opinion, it hasn't changed. We speak regular on football off the show as well. So, but our opinion has been that, yeah, we'll survive. Vincent Kompany will get it right. The board have got it right so far in backing Vincent Kompany. I know at the start it wasn't seen as the thing to do, but because he hadn't proven himself at Anderlecht. But yeah, now it's definitely proven himself, and we're definitely heading in the right direction. Will we survive? Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to finish just above the relegation zone, but if we finish just above the relegation zone, we're in the Premier League next season.
Exactly.
So for me, yes, where will we finish? Just below mid-table, I think. What about you?
Yeah, good question, that Beachy. Thanks, pal. Yeah, like Youngie's already touched on. My opinion hasn't changed even from the first two games in the league. I still think we're a lot better than a lot of them teams in and around us. I think we stay up. Comfortably. And I think, like you, Younger, I'll agree with you. I think we'll finish mid-table.
So there you go, Beachy. I hope you're happy with that answer. Liam Walker, he's asking a question about Aston Villa. So his question is, do you think Uri Emery can transform Aston Villa into a Champions League side? Well, again, I think we're both very much in agreement that he definitely can. He's got a decent squad of players. He never over-exuberant in transfer windows. He only buys sort of players that he really, really needs. And he's not had too different a squad to what the previous managers have had, but he's got them playing in a great style of football. You know, we touched on Burnley, Aston Villa before at the start of the show, and we were both in agreement that we were outplayed, we were outdominated by a better team, and a team that's going to finish, or we believe it's going to finish probably top 7 this season. Can he take them further on? Yes, I believe he can. Give him time.
Yeah. I've always rated Emery. I think he's a great manager. I think he was unlucky at Arsenal.
I think we said that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, he's very underrated. Really good manager. Knows how to set his teams up. He signed some really, really good diamonds this season. Pau Torres looked a bit iffy to start with, but then grew into the game. Diaby, unreal. Not seen the player as fast as him. Absolutely unreal. But yeah, I definitely think. I think we did the predictions last week, and I put Aston Villa down as the surprise team of the season. I don't know if they'll do a Newcastle this season, but I definitely can see him, up there or thereabouts, challenging for Champions League places. But yeah, definitely Emery will, if he's given time, he'll transform that Villa squad.
Yeah, I fully agree. So cheers, Liam. Thank you. James Dukes has asked, will Barchester United ever stop having biased refs? Good question. I have to think it's a top 4, top 7 club thing. I will touch more on another question later on whether we would change any rules or anything. But yeah, I think I don't know. They get quite a few decisions, don't they? But so do Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. They all seem to get a few extra ones that lower down the league definitely don't get.
Yeah.
So that was one question. He's got another one. Does everyone agree Manchester City only won the titles/trophies through their original through their takeover by their Saudi-backed consortium, let's say? Mark?
What I will say on the just making 2 quick points. The Barchester is a great point. I hate VAR. I think there's no clear and concise decisions being given. It's making the referees look incompetent because the referees are being told anyway, have a look at that decision, do this. So I think it's taking that the referee actually controlling the game. And I don't mean that controlling in the way where he's not going to make any wrong decisions. What I mean is that it's making the referee second guess every decision he's making because he knows he could get pulled up on it. I think 2 seasons in now with VAR, I think it's 2 or 3 seasons now, if memory serves me right, and we still do not have a clear and concise set of rules and regulations on what VAR should be looking at. And I think that's what's
I want to, like I say, I want to touch on this a little bit more on in a couple of minutes on another question. Yeah, I really do. I think it. I think it could be used in a different way. So I've got, obviously we'll both have ideas on what we want to bring in and what we want to take away.
So the second question, what was the second question on the
does everyone agree that Manchester City have only won titles and trophies because of the money that they've been?
I think that's a given. I think any club, more or less, any club that gets taken over in that sort of remit. But what I will say about the City thing is that if you look at the Newcastle thing, when Newcastle got taken over, Eddie Howe didn't go and splash the cash. Like, he didn't spend a metric ton of money. He just signed players that he knew were going to make a difference to that squad.
Yeah.
Whereas when I think I'm not a City fan, so I don't know, but I think the first signing Manchester City did when they got all that takeover was signing Robinho.
Yeah. I agree. Yes.
Without the money, they don't have Guardiola. Without that money, Guardiola doesn't go there.
The money helped, but Chelsea did it first. Manchester City joined the bandwagon. Chelsea are doing it again. They've nearly spent £1 billion since Todd Bowley took over. And we were talking about a while ago how, and we're saying it here, how Manchester City have spent a lot of money, but they haven't spent £1 billion yet, have they?
I think over that. I think we'd have to have a look at that over the next.
But I think it's more the Todd Bowley one's coming to more of a situation because of how little time he's actually been at the club.
Yeah. It's more in the spotlight, in it, because he's only been there for a year, so to speak. Yeah, just give or take, and he spent almost £1 billion in a year.
Yeah, so crazy. I would expect that there's going to be some financial fair play implications coming Chelsea's way and Manchester City's way. I know they're in some trouble somewhere with that. So, Dukesy, thank you for your questions. We sort of agree with both questions, don't we? And we are going to touch on the VAR a little bit further down. But Ryan Kelly, Gareth Southgate has obviously just announced his team. He got asked a question after the success of the Women's World Cup. Is now the time to give female managers a shot at the men's game? I was meant to look this up before I came on, and I completely forgot. There was a lady given a chance in pre-season at a lower league club. She managed one game, and then they brought in a man. I know she was only in temporary caretaker charge. I know that Emma Hayes, she was offered a chance to go to a club, and she said, why would I turn down, why would I go to a lower league club when I'm at Chelsea? Yes, is my answer. I think, yes, they should be given a chance. Yep. If they've got the qualifications, as a man does, why should they not get the opportunity? They shouldn't get more of an opportunity as a man.
Yeah.
Because they're a woman.
Equal. Yeah, it should be the
same. It's the same as being black and white.
Yeah.
There's talk about this all the time. Black managers not being given high-profile jobs because of their skin color. It shouldn't matter about skin color, sex, religion. None of that should matter.
No,
if you've got the qualifications to take you to manage a club, if you interview and you interview best, then you should get given the job.
That's it. On merit. It should be on merit.
Exactly. I think, Serena Wiemann's done a great job with the England women's team. They got to the World Cup final. They got beat by the better team on the day. I actually watched the game, sat down with my daughter and watched the game, and they were the better team on the day. We had a couple of opportunities, but so if Gareth Southgate decides to retire, would I offer her the job? No. Would I let her interview for the job? 100% she should interview. She shouldn't automatically be given the job because of the role that she's already played, but she should interview for the job, and she should interview alongside other managers, English managers, black managers, Asian managers. It makes no odds. But should she be given a chance? Absolutely. Should women be given a chance to interview for the job? They shouldn't automatically get the role. I think so.
I think so as well. I think the Forest Green role was a
that's the one it was. It was Forest Green, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it were a media stunt, to be honest with you. I think it was taking the distraction away from they got relegated, so taking the blow away from leaving the football league, so to speak. Couldn't agree more with you on that one. On this point, this is a point that I strongly believe is it shouldn't matter about your skin color, race, religion, sex, what you are, what you want to be identified as. If you get a job, you go for a job and you have the qualifications same as somebody else, and you get that job on merit, it shouldn't matter if you're a woman or man. If you've got the qualifications, you interview really well, then yeah, crack on. That's your job. I do think, that the England's women manager, I do think she definitely sort us out, because I really can't stand Gareth Southgate.
Now, to Martin's question, if you had a chance to change a current rule in football or bring a rule in from another sport, what would it be? It's a really great question, because obviously we've got VAR in football at the minute. So, crack on, Mark. What would you bring in? Would you change?
Two things I'd change. Well, three. Probably four. Three. The first one, handball. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Some of these handball decisions that are being given. I think it's nigh on impossible. If you're doing a Sol Campbell slide and you're coming at full force, the only thing you're focusing on as a player is to stop that ball. You're not bothered where your hands are. You're not going to slide like you're a hot dog going across pitch, or you're like in a bobsleigh or something where your hands are by your side. So I think the handball needs to be looked at, because I think some of the decisions that have been given are a bit harsh. Again, touching on my point what I made earlier about the inconsistency with VAR. For me, if it's clear and concise handball and the player has moved in the direction of that ball and he's deliberately stopped a goal, deliberately stopped a pass getting through or whatever, then yeah, handball. Make the rule, make it just one rule for everything. Don't change the rules as you mean to along.
Yeah.
Three, I think we should be giving the attackers the benefit of the doubt when they're playing on against the last man. I think we should give them a couple of yards, or maybe a yard or so. I think some of these from an attacking point of view.
In relation to being onside and offside.
Yeah.
Nah, you can't do that. I can't agree with that one. You can't give an attacking player any more of an advantage than the fact that if it's a toe, you're offside. Like some of these defenders have learnt their trade and have been applying their trade for such a long time, and are able to keep players in line and keep you running in a straight place all the time and keep that line together. And you're going to give, I think it was Arsene Wenger who was saying there needs to be clear daylight. Well, that means that person can run with his arm back like this, and then you wouldn't get clear daylight because you've got another 3 feet, and that then
I don't agree on that. I don't agree on that.
But you're talking 2 yards, so you're talking this much that the player's allowed to be offside.
I just think I'm just looking at from
they get enough of advantage with the size of the goal and the size of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I suppose.
And they still miss.
Maybe I'm reliving my peak years when I played up front and giving a couple of dubious offsides against me. But
I get it. Like,
do you know what I mean?
If it's offside, it's offside.
Really tight, though, isn't it? Some of the decisions really tight.
Yeah, but I think they're using the best technology that they can use for that decision. I don't understand how sometimes the lines can look different, but I think it's all about the position of where the camera angle is. And I don't think there's a better system to do it. If there is, then I'd be open for them testing it.
Pretty sure Coco the Clown, when Burnley were playing in the Premier League the season before, I'm pretty sure Coco the Clown were drawing the lines for us when we were offside like this. To be fair, but the last point I want to make on the VAR, the rules for Martin. Good question, Tucky, as always from you, mate. Is I'd bring the way the video referees is used in rugby. I think being able to explain the decision and having that quick sort of like resolution to it, looking at all angles and stuff and just sorting it. I know it's a stop-start game. Sometimes it could be a couple of decisions. It could be a little bit different in football than it is in rugby, how it's done. But I do think
I partly agree with that, and it's sort of part of the answer to my side of that. It is very similar. I think that there should be a sole panel of VAR referees. It's not referees that ref week in, week out in the Premier League. They could be ex-referees, they could be lower league referees, but there is just a panel of referees that solely sit behind a monitor and watch that game. They are there in the ground.
Yep.
So they're at the ground and they're watching it on the monitor, but in the ground. So then they are mic'd up and you can hear them say, when it comes to it, what you're looking at, or the referee's mic'd up, like in rugby. And you can hear him say, can you check X, Y, and Z? When he goes to the monitor, he's looking at it. Can you play it back? Can I see a clear and obvious error in my decision? Or it's solely down to the referee. Did I see that strike an arm? No, I didn't see it. Okay. He then says, I think that struck an arm. Go and look at the monitor. The person behind the monitor doesn't make the decision.
Yeah.
Go and look at the monitor, run to the sideline. Did it strike an arm? Now, playing football, this is a natural arm position for a footballer.
Yes.
You do not jump like that. There was a When was there was a decision given in the Women's World Cup. Was it against England?
In the World Cup final when they got the penalty.
Oh, when they got the penalty.
But she moved towards the ball.
Was never a penalty in a million years.
Come on. She moved to the ball. A natural position. She moved to the ball.
So when you jump as a player, they're saying your natural position is to keep your arms beside you. Yes?
No.
Because if you jump and somebody headers the ball and it hits you, your arms, because they're out, is in an unnatural position. Actually, when you jump with your arms. So your arms are in a natural position. What she's done is step across and it's...
Yes. But she's moved...
Look, just watch this a second. As I move my leg. Oh, look, see my arm moves. I'm turning and my arm moves. Her arm, it didn't move at the ball. It moved with the leg because she's opening her body out to try and close that player down. The player from a yard away chipped the ball. It hit her arm. She regained possession. So she gained the advantage being inside the England box and missed the opportunity. Why should you be given the opportunity to retake it again? You shouldn't, should you? So, for me, the handball rule needs to change and it needs to be looked at by people that have played the professional game, not by a referee, and state that get a group of players together and throw balls at them and make them move and see what these natural arm positions actually are and then be able to work it out. Or go down the line of, if it touches your hand from here down, as the rule is, it's handball. No matter whether the next ear and it hits you here and your body shape is inside whatever circle they want it to be in. If it hits your hand, it's handball. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's handball and it leads to a goal. If it hits your hand anywhere on the pitch, the fourth official or the TV monitor man just presses a button and it goes handball. And he says, where was it? Back there, 10 yards, job done.
I don't think they'll do that because I think that'd be now impossible because some of these handballs aren't, obviously. But I like the fact that, you're talking about the Women's World Cup thing. For me personally, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was handball. But then when I watched it on the replay, just in my opinion, it appeared that she moved towards the ball with her arm.
Of course, she moved towards the ball. She tried to move to block the ball.
No, but this is what I mean, though. You're saying, like, your arm moves, don't it? When you move, your arm moves. That's fair enough. But if you watch it, when she's gone to tackle her, it looks like she's leaning a bit further with her arm. Because if that's in the middle of the park, what she's looking to do there, it looks like she's looking to bring her down.
But if that happens in the middle of the park, it's play on, because she gained the advantage on the other side. She picked up the ball on the other side. The advantage there was she picked up the ball on the other side and she had a strike at goal. She didn't score, so why should she be given an opportunity to take the penalty again? She didn't score it anyway. But I mean, why should she be given the opportunity to take it again? And this is you talking about bloody strikers being given the benefit of the doubt. I guarantee if that's a centre half taking it out and dinking it past a centre forward, it's not given as handball. Especially if they catch it on the other side, he just goes, play on, off you go, play on.
This is why we like these questions, guys, because we can have a really good interactive talk about it. So, Martin, great question, Tucker. But yeah, so fair enough on that one. I think we've both agreed that.
But why not? Why don't they use the hotspot from cricket? They talk about things like that, and cricket bats, they're able to use noise and stuff. No, you're not going to be able to use that in the ground, but the hotspot from cricket, and I don't know the technology behind hotspot. I can't say I do, but hotspot from cricket's always been a big one. Or again, in tennis, where the ball, I know they've just started. I think at the US Open they used VAR and it didn't work on the first time it got used, and that was in the Andy Murray match the other night. I watched it. It definitely looked like the ball bounced into the guy's racket, but it was VAR. But I think if the old system of seeing the ball bounce, you would have seen it. So yeah, Martin, great question. Let's get your take on that as well. We want to hear your take on it. So Martin, been on the show before, great question. So we've got a good question here from Dave Scholes. Scholes is fired as a question. So as Burnley fans, would you take winning the FA Cup? And are we still there, Mark? I've lost my screen. Just bear with me a second. I'm back. Here. Could you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost everything. So, as Burnley fans, would you take winning the FA Cup and getting relegated this season, or guarantee Premier League survival for the next 10 years? What would you do as a Burnley fan? It's so because we haven't won a trophy in a long time, so we've won championship trophies, but I mean outside of big domestic trophies, League Cups, FA Cups, Premier Leagues, we haven't been there, have we? So I suppose for me as a Burnley fan, and the same for Mark, we never thought we'd see Burnley playing the Premier League. God, we've done it a few times now. Did we think we'd see Burnley playing Europe? Nope. Did we do it? Yes, we did. Are we going to do it again? I bloody well hope so. But again, since we did it then, there's a lot more teams that have now started building. I think you can look at least 10 teams in the Premier League now that you could easily fire into the top 7 teams in that, and then it gets extended a little bit because Man City tend to be up and about winning one of the trophies, because if they get relegated out of Champions League, they're definitely winning Europa League, aren't they? So yes, I'd take winning the FA Cup.
Oh, what?
Only because we'd walk away with Championship next season and be back in Premier League.
Oh, but that's
and we'd go to Europe, because you go to Europe if you win the FA Cup. So come on.
That's the thing for me, though. I would like 10 consistent years.
But then again, the 8 years
10
in the
years.
Premier League that we had under Sean Dyche were quality, weren't they? So if we get 10 years of solid Premier League football, imagine where the club could be again, especially with the new investors and how they're promoting the team and making it into a global brand.
10 years for me. 10 years.
10 years. It's a toss-up, isn't it? In that 10 years, we might win a League Cup, an FA Cup. We might get to Europe by the end of that 10 years.
Exactly.
Will Vincent Kompany still be in charge? No. For the simple reason, I think we both agree, he's probably going to end up at Manchester City. Mark, I think we're heading to you for a question now, are we?
Yes, I was just about to say I've got...
Scholesy, thanks very much for that question.
Cheers, Scholesy, son. Yeah, thanks for that, Paul. My question's from Stephen Persens, aka Stavaldo. Hope you're doing all right, pal. Thanks for the question tonight. So the question from Stav is to Burnley fans again. Shock. Trafford has conceded 6 goals, and fans, with Stav included, are calling for Muric to start on Saturday. The question is, has Trafford actually put a foot wrong? If not, why have we conceded 6 goals? I think on this one, Youngie, I'll let you start us off on this one, mate. What do you think? Do you think is a deer in the headlights a little bit, or what do you think?
So he's coming from Manchester City, obviously, and so's Muric, but I think we're fickle, Burnley, aren't we? Like, there was a number of times last season where people were saying
slating Muric,
absolutely slating him because
for no reason.
He couldn't catch the ball, or he dropped a ball, or he got an injury, or he played one bad pass. And then people are now saying, well, he needs to be in the team. He's the best passer of the ball that we've got in the team. He creates things from the back. I'm not going to argue with that statement. I think, and I've been an advocate and said, I think he should have got his chance to start this season. But guys, we're questioning Vincent Kompany again. Like, everybody seemed to question the board when they said that we're bringing Vincent Kompany in. Everybody questioned the signings that Vincent Kompany was making. Nobody questioned any of that at the end of the season when we won the league and won it comfortably. Nobody questioned that. He's clearly got Trafford in mind for what he wants to do as a manager, and he's great shot stopper, by the way. He's pulled off some worldies. But you're talking about Muric, who played in the Championship against Championship players, against Championship goal scorers, against Trafford, who is playing in the Premier League, and we've played Manchester City in the first game of the season, and we've played Aston Villa in our second game. We've played 2 games. Yes, we've conceded 6 goals, but we're playing Premier League football. And you can't blame at the minute one player. We've scored 1 goal. So why are we concentrating on the goalkeeper and not concentrating on the 10 other players that are outfield?
Yeah.
I've coached football for a while as well. And I'm not on Premier League standard or anything like that. I'm not on Team Down Road standard, but you have 10 defenders that play outfield. Whether you are in the back 4, in the middle 4, or in the front 2, we're playing 4-4-2. Okay, that's not the football that we play under Vincent Kompany. But if you look at it in that aspect, when their goalkeepers got the ball, we pressed the game. Why do we press the game? Because we're all defenders. We've all got to try and keep that ball out of our goal. He's just the last line of the defence. For me, I would have started Muric at the start of the season, because why shouldn't he deserve his chance? However, I can say that about a number of players that played outfield last season, should they have been given the chance. We're talking championship level football to Premier League level football. There's a big difference. Vincent Kompany made the point last season. They're not the best team in the country. They were just the best team in the championship and the 21st best team in the
21st best team in the division in the
league in the country at that time. At the minute, we're a little bit higher than that, but there's 3 teams on 0 points, 2 of which play each other this weekend. So, look, it's not an easy decision. Do I think he's been at fault for the goals? He might have been at fault for the odd goal. Maybe he could have done better with something, but so could 10 other outfield players. Could we have created more chances? Are we playing the style of football that Vincent wants at the minute? I don't know. The only thing I know is that at the minute, in Vincent Kompany, I trust. Why would I waver on that? Why would any Burnley fan waver on that?
Yeah.
We had a run in the Championship. We got absolutely battered off Sheffield United in the Championship last season. It changed the way that we played.
Yeah.
He's still bringing players in. It's going to take time for players to settle. Yes, the Championship it's arguably up there with the best league in our country, because it's so competitive and anybody can do anything. Where the Premier League, once teams start getting in that mindset, the teams that are going to finish at the top, the teams that are going to finish in the middle, and the teams that are going to finish at the bottom. And you can almost, at times in the season, you can pick where teams are going to finish and where, what the result's almost going to be. You're going to say at times, yes, this team's going to beat this team. In the Championship, it's not 100% certain. We've already said tonight that we expect 10 teams this season to be fighting out for top 7 places, and some teams are going to be good, and managers are going to get sacked because they didn't finish in that top 7, and some teams are going to be expected to finish in that top 10 and not. But for me, these players need time to settle. I think our season would have looked slightly different if we'd have played Luton on the second game of the season, because I think it would have been a much more closer match. They're the teams that we've got to try and beat. And, we've already had our say on what should have happened with that game. But, yeah, for me, I just trust in Vincent Kompany. I know I've said quite a bit about it there, but what do you think, Mark?
I think Muric should have started. I think I agree with you on some of the points you made. I think Muric should have been given the opportunity to start because he's the one that got us up there as well. Alongside, like we've said, we've agreed on a couple of things. Like I said, we don't use this show to be as a beating stick for the club or the players, or because we trust we trust our manager Vincent Kompany. He knows a hell of a lot more than what us as fans do. His backroom staff see these players week in, week out. Have they seen something in Trafford that is better than Muric? Potentially, that's why I've started him. What I will say is that he's a young lad. He did really well at Bolton last season. He did really well in the England in the summer. I think he's just finding his feet. Don't get me wrong. I was a bit disappointed with the second goal and the third goal on Sunday. I think he could have done a bit better with both. But again, though, it's not a beating stick. I think it's just because how good he is. And I think he's just finding his feet, playing in a different team, playing in the best league in the world. He's gone from League One to Premier League, so that's going to be a massive step up for him. But I do think he's going to give us something. I think he's a great shot stopper. Like I said, he pulled off a couple of good saves on Sunday. And yeah, I just think Muric should have possibly been given the chance. However, it's a long season. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think we've got two very good goalkeepers fighting out for one position. The lad who we signed from Orient, he's a quality keeper as well. So we've got three keepers there. But yeah, for me, Muric should have started.
Yeah, like we said, I think we both agree that potentially Muric should have started. But again, I agree. He must see something in training, and if it gets to a point, you know what Vincent's like. He's not scared of taking people out of side. Like,
no. Took Muric over Watford last season, didn't he? And put Bailey Peacock in that. So he's not afraid of making a decision.
Everybody should be thinking Benson should be started. He won over the last 4 games for us, but again, like, he's one of them players that he got us there and helped us get us there, but he's not an instant name on that starting team sheet. So,
impact player.
If he had all the eggs in his basket straight away, this is not a dig at Vincent Kompany because it's not that easy. I'm sure he would know his starting lineup and know exactly who's going to start every game so far, but it's just not like that. He clearly sees something in Trafford. Stephen, thank you for your question. The last couple of questions have really opened some big up debates on the We Know Nothing show. Mark, have you got one more for us?
Yeah, Liam, another big advocate for the show. Cheers for the question, Liam, as always, my mate. This one, we may have to just obviously run through it quite quick.
It might have to be one that we come back to again,
possibly. So he's just asked, what do you think our best starting 11 is for this season? So, I mean...
I think it might be one that we come back to because I think, transfer window still has not shut. It closes tomorrow. By the time this video goes up, it will be today. But again, it's the squad that he's built has got potential for so many different combinations. We already talked about potential transfers incoming, and there's so many names being thrown about at the minute. It's not going to be an hard one. It's not going to be an easy one to pick.
No,
it's going to be really hard.
Well, great question.
Watch this space, and I think we will definitely touch on that in the next couple of shows. I think we can kill a few birds with one stone in the next show. Regarding Kerry Ann's question and Liam's question. So just watch this space, you two. I have one more question on mine. Have you got any more questions on your end, Mark?
No, that's it from me, son. That's it from
so I've got one more from Dean. He says James Mack, but it's actually Jimmy Mack.
Get it right. Dino.
It is widely regarded as Burnley's best ever player, but there's only an older generation of Burnley fans that actually got to watch him live.
Yeah.
So for me and you, Mark, who is this is a stupid question for him? Who is the best player you've seen in your time at the Turf? And as somebody's already put on our Facebook page today, you are not allowed to say that player. So yeah, who is your best player that you've seen play live for Burnley? And obviously, he's already thinking, he's trying so hard now because he's trying to think of a name other than Stephen Defoe. But let's get it right. He was a phenomenal player.
This is a witch hunt against me about Stephen Defoe. Stephen Defoe was technically the best player I've seen down at Turf. However, I think you've got to look at your
No, just
technically
one.
wise.
Just one. Not you've got to look at everyone. Just one. You pick one, and I'll pick the other. I don't know why this is so hard.
What do you mean? Why is it? What do you mean? Why is it so hard? It's a tricky one, like because especially the last season, because we saw some unbelievable football last season. But
yeah, I wouldn't put any of them in.
No,
the bracket
that
of
I'm going to go
best
with,
player that you've ever seen at the turf.
Player that I'm going to go with, Glenn Little.
Yeah, so I would 100% agree with Mark. Glenn Little is arguably the best player that I ever watched at the turf. But I'm not going to give the same answer. So Mark's got Glenn Little, and this is where it'll lead back to
Stephen Defoe.
This is where it'll lead back to the questions prior to this and building a team of players, and I think we'll get a mixed bag. But yeah, so I'm going to name Stephen Defoe. No, not really. I'm going to go for the best striker I think that ever played for Burnley. His numbers don't lie. Gifton O'Williams. Andy Payton, another advocate for the show. The guy was phenomenal in his time. We had him on the show. I questioned him on the show and said, how good would it was last season and we were playing really great football, and how good would it be for a striker like Andy Payton to be in the middle of that box for some of them balls that were coming in at times, and just the way that they played, and how Andy ran off the back of defenders. And he will say himself he didn't have bags and bags of pace, but he did know how to get that half a yard on players. So for me, and Andy would agree that Glenn Little is the best player that he's ever played with. Partly because they played together for some time, and Glenn Little assisted quite a lot of his goals. But for me, Andy Payton's is my man, and Glenn Little is Mark's man. Dean, I'll ask you the same question. Who is your man? I look forward to seeing your response on our Facebook page.
Let me tell you this with Dean. Dean is a Man United fan.
Right.
So
that's why you got Jimmy Mack's name wrong.
Yeah.
So his favourite player of all time is Eric Cantona.
No, I think he only started supporting Man United a few seasons ago, to be fair.
Ah, right. So it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, big time. I hope you get a chomp out of that, Dean.
No, but again, thank you for your questions tonight. Burnley fans and fans alike, we've had some questions about Villa and Varchester United. So if you're a supporter of Varchester United or a supporter of Villa or anybody else, we really are open to talking about, we do swing a lot of the questions around to Burnley, and or we get asked a lot of questions about Burnley because noticeably most of our following is Burnley fans. However, if you've got questions about other clubs, then you get involved, send them in. We do our homework. We do look at the questions. We do spend some time on what answers we're going to give. And like we said, Kerry-Ann and Liam, watch this space. Your videos will be out. Yes. You will see your answers coming very, very shortly. And we really look forward to doing them shows because we enjoy it. We've touched on similar questions before, and they really are great questions. Just for everybody's knowledge, Kerry-Ann's question was pick a team from after 1994, I believe, from Burnley players and Manchester United players and have a mix of the teams, and who would you pick? It's quite hard because after 1994, you get a really decent Man United team, so it's not going to be easy. I will say that, but we'll give it our best shot. And like we say, me and Mark will sit down in our own time, and we'll come together as with a team. But we will both pick separate teams for Liam's question, just because, we'll both slightly be waver on different answers. Again, Mark, great show. Couldn't have done it without you, mate. I wouldn't want to do it without you either. And we go again. So if you want to answer any of the questions yourself on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, drop us a question. One shout out is to Amo, who drops us a question, or dropped us a message on our YouTube channel this week. Thanks very much, Amo. We got a response and you responded back. So good chat. And that's it, Mark. Thanks for watching the We Know Nothing show.
Yeah, hope you enjoy the show, guys. Have a good weekend, and up the Clarets. Peace out.
The Clarets.